Hello, and welcome to the Cinema Scrutiny Podcast, the podcast where we take you through all the TV, film, and streaming news this past week that we found worth talking about. I'm John, and I'm joined today by my co host, Billy.
That's me.
And we are starting a film cinema podcast. We weren't really sure what to call it, but we want to talk basically any moving picture. I guess before we start, since this is the first podcast, maybe we should just talk a little bit about ourselves and our backgrounds in film. If you want to go first, Billy.
Yeah, sure. So I just graduated film school. John and I went to the same school, but I was a film major. So I actually make movies, and yeah, I I just finished my first short film, won my first award with it. That was pretty fun. Yeah,
And what award was that, Billy?
it was the best student film at the New York Movie Awards.
That's right, it
I
was
won.
Big Flex.
That's right. And I am accepted into a couple more festivals, so that's coming up soon.
Yeah,
But
that's great. And I'm sure
yeah,
we're
it's
going to keep
exciting stuff.
everyone posted.
Yeah, yeah. Listen, we'll do a little promotion here and there. We might drop a few little gems. Like, I
Oh,
don't
yeah.
know.
Oh, yeah.
We'll see.
So, my film career is a little less illustrious. I worked at a movie theater for like 6 years. Basically, if you can think of a job at a movie theater, I did it. Projection, concession, cleaning, managing, everything. I think honestly, movie theaters are one of the best places to work, especially if you're in like high school or putting yourself through college. It's nothing is better than seeing a movie either a day early or the night of with just like your other employees at like 2 a.m. because that's when the movie released officially.
That's right.
And yeah, through that though, and through being friends with Billy, and obviously we were roommates in college for 3 years, I've just been exposed to a lot of film. And obviously, who doesn't love watching TV or watching movies? So that is pretty much us. And then just talking about Cinema Scrutiny, the podcast. So the way that we want to format the show is at the beginning of every episode, we're just going to like catch up really quick. And then we are going to jump into the news of the week. So this is going to be like 5 to 7 articles that we found worth talking about. It really depends on the week. And we're just going to give you hot takes. We're going to fill you in just in case you haven't been, keeping up. And then we are going to jump into a discussion topic afterward. And that could be either a generic topic about film in general, specific to a specific genre of film or specific film series. And we also want to do almost like a film club. So there might be weeks where we'll tell you that we're going to watch a film and then review it on the next episode. So hopefully everyone can, watch it over the week and then come back and we can talk about it.
Yeah,
So
exactly. So it'll be nice. Some weeks we might do a review. Some weeks we might just have a debate on a topic or uh, something like that. I mean, we have a bunch of different discussions lined up for weeks to come, but of course, we could always outsource to our listeners to see if anyone wants us to talk about a certain topic or
yeah, actually, speaking of that, not to plug, but we do have an email address if you do want to write to us or give us a question. And that is cinemascrutinypodcast@gmail.com. No caps, no dots, no spaces, nothing. That's cinemascrutinypodcast@gmail.com.
we'll link it in the description. We'll make sure everything is accounted for.
Yeah, hopefully. All right, so
Um,
without a doubt, let's just jump right into the news.
the news.
All right. So first topic today, we are going to be talking about Star Wars: The Bad Batch. So Disney Plus, obviously Disney's new streaming service. In my opinion, it's been a little lacking for content, and I think that they are trying to push out as much as possible. So they have announced a new Star Wars spin-off series. It's a spin-off of Star Wars: The Clone Wars TV show, and
Yep.
it will be debuting in 2021 on Disney Plus. It follows well, here we go. The series follows the elite and experimental clones of the Bad Batch, first introduced in the Clone Wars, as they find their way in a rapidly changing galaxy in the immediate aftermath of the Clone War. So, just some more background. They were introduced in the final season of the Clone Wars. They were the first arc. They were awesome. They all are specially genetically modified clones to do very specific tasks, but when they come together as a unit, they provide a really interesting and I think new take on clones. And obviously, the Clone Wars is one of the best Star Wars things out there.
Yeah.
So, what do you think, Bill?
So as you know, I'm a little behind on the Clone Wars. I haven't fully caught up,
Mm-hmm.
and you are much more in the know, especially on the Clone Wars. But definitely more on the Bad Batch. Is I know the only clone I remember from the Clone Wars is Rex, the guy in the blue. He's
Mm-hmm.
like the clone. Is he in that squad, like the Bad Batch squad?
No. So,
Oh,
I have a picture of them right here. So, originally, the Bad Batch. So, there's a ton of lore that I'm not going to get into, but like,
sure.
so in season like 2 or 3, there's an episode of the Clone Wars where it's on Camino, and this clone, 99 is his name. He was
Yeah.
a genetically modified clone, and he was defective. So he had like a hunchback, and he couldn't really go into battle. So he was kind of like a janitor. But he went on in those episodes to really prove himself and save the day. And I think that inspired them to create a batch of clones that all had specific genetic modifications that could perform certain tasks and say outperform in certain areas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so with the Bad Batch here, the original four are the ones in the back, and this is Echo, who, without spoiling it, like becomes a part of the Bad Batch. But for instance, this one is a hacker. This one is a sniper. This one, I guess, is just like a leader. I'm not really sure what the what the modification is, and this one's just big as fuck.
Gotcha.
And
So
then
it's basically just like a designated team. They each have their own like special abilities, sort of, so to speak, I guess, or
yeah,
expertise.
it's like clones that all have like their very specific zones, and honestly, if I remember correctly, I think it might be different for the Bad Batch, but all clones are voiced by the same actor.
Yeah.
So this show is literally just going to be this guy talking to himself for like 30 minutes. It's going to be awesome,
Yeah.
but I
No,
am
I
really
think it's a
excited.
good idea. I think it's a good idea because, well, obviously, like with everything with the coronavirus going on, it opens a door for so much like animation stuff to come through, and animation is like really blowing up right now. And of course,
Yeah,
the Clone Wars last season did crazy numbers on Disney Plus, and it was trending like crazy. Like people love the show, and it's successful. It's good.
I agree.
And not to mention, you could tie this show. I'm sure they will have references to like uh, Star Wars Rebels and stuff like that. I'm sure there will be like little nods because this is supposed to be after the Clone Wars, right?
Yeah, it is. So my guess is that they all do not have the chip in their head, or they all like fight against it or something, and
Right.
that kind of puts them on the rebel side. I assume that even though Rex isn't a part of this, I assume that he will be in it, and like Ahsoka would probably show up
Yeah.
because Dave Filoni is the man who directed the Clone Wars, and he's also heading this.
What
And
a
I
god.
like, especially after, yeah, he's the best person working on Star Wars besides probably like Jean Favreau.
He should be in charge.
He
He's like
really, really
he does
should.
everything,
Yeah,
and he
that's
knows his shit.
oh,
It's
it's
great.
so good. He's so smart, and Kathleen Kennedy's so stupid. But that's I don't want to talk about that right now because that's a
Sure.
different. That could be like it's a whole podcast every week.
Yeah,
But
it could be a simple discussion on its own.
yeah, and to be honest, like the Clone Wars never should have ended. I mean, obviously there has to be an end because like it's a prequel and like there are events, but like
Sure.
that it could have ran forever. It was so good. It never showed any signs of slowing down, and like just continuing it through this is genius.
Yeah, I think. I mean, this can be a discussion for like a later episode of a podcast, but I it's good when things come to an end at some points. You know what I mean?
Mm,
It's like how long should a TV show last? Is at some point, you know, are we going on too long? You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, yeah,
sometimes, in some cases, you could end up like The Walking Dead. It's like, all right, we're beating a dead horse here. Like, not to say that would happen with the Clone Wars, but like, it's nice
yeah.
to bookend it and be like, all right, we're done. Let's move on to other things, and let this like shine where it's at.
Yeah, I can't remember how many Walking Dead seasons there are, but I know that the Clone Wars, the final season was 7,
Yeah,
which I think is a great place to end most shows. I think all my favorite shows end in 7 seasons.
yeah. I think 6 or 7 is like a sweet spot.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's one to keep an eye on. Definitely worth getting a Disney Plus subscription to watch the Clone Wars and this and the Mandalorian and anything that's Star Wars. It's all good.
Yeah,
So yeah, then let's jump quickly into the next topic, which is Uncharted movie finally begins shooting, kind of.
sort of.
Yeah. So do you want to talk about this one a little bit, Bill?
Yeah, so they're in, from what I understand, they just got into pre-production, um, and it's pre-production, so I don't think they've shot anything yet. I think they still have a couple weeks to go until they shoot.
Yeah.
But Tom Holland has been teasing behind the scenes stuff, and by teasing, he posted a picture of the chair he sits in. So I mean,
Yeah.
it's a very minor teaser, but it kind of feels good because this thing has been in like development hell, so to speak, for
Mm-hmm.
years. Like I would say almost a decade. Um, and the guy who directed Venom, Ruben Fleischer, he's signed on to direct. Which I'll be honest, um, Tom Holland was teasing last week about this, about being on set and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And in the moment, I was like, wait a minute, who's directing this thing? Because there's been so many directors like on this project, off this project, like people kept dropping out,
Yeah.
So I had to like look it up, and I was like, who's in charge here? So this is kind of interesting. I don't know. I mean, they got Ruben Fleischer's directing, um, Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg are starring, and they're saying it's going to come out in July 2021, mid July 2021,
That
and that's
sounds ambitious.
very ambitious. And not to mention, first of all, quick turnaround in general, but also, you know, that's just saying like if there's no delays due to COVID-19. So if they could shoot everything, with no delays, that's when it'll happen. And I gotta be honest, doubt. I just don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, honestly, I don't know what it is about just video game films that is cursed, but
Yeah,
it feels like every video game film that you ever hear of, it's in development hell. There's been 10, 15 directors, there's been 30 script rewrites.
yeah,
Honestly, I think a lot of people aren't even sure if this sounds like a good film. Like when you think Uncharted, you think Nathan Drake is like probably 30 and Sully is like an old man. But
right.
we're going young Tom Holland. We're going like I think they're probably going to portray him even younger than Tom Holland is, which I believe is like 23, 22.
Yeah, they're probably gonna push like 19, 20, something like
Yeah, and then obviously Mark Wahlberg always looks like he's somehow like 45, but I don't. I actually he. How old is Mark Wahlberg?
that. I want to say he's
Oh,
50
yeah, he's
something.
looked the same for so long. I don't even. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
I mean, I would imagine they're gonna give him like a little touch of gray or
A
something like
little
that.
salt, maybe,
Yeah,
maybe.
he's probably gonna be rocking a sick handlebar mustache. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
yeah. I mean, I
That's
am.
Sully.
Yeah, I'm cautiously optimistic. I really love Uncharted. I love the game so much, and I want the film to be good. I think
This is
that.
gonna be tough because Uncharted is such a cinematic game in
Mhm.
itself. You know,
Yeah, it
so
really plays
translating,
like a movie.
so translating that to the screen is gonna be very interesting. But
Yeah.
go on. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I was just gonna say I feel like Tom Holland jumped the gun with his like day one, and he's got like his own director's chair, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah,
And it honestly between this and like all the stuff that he does with Marvel, I almost think that he doesn't know how movies are made, or like or if he's just like excited. I mean, granted he didn't say day one of shooting. We just assumed that because of the chair. So like I do
yeah.
think he's intelligent, but like it's funny stuff.
I think he's just building hype, and I'm sure he's
Yeah.
excited. I
Oh,
mean,
I would be so excited.
it's a big character to have, and
Hmm.
Tom Holland's got a lot of other roles lined up, but this is probably the most mainstream thing he's got outside of Spider-Man right now.
Yeah, that's true. We saw him in it was 2 years ago. It was called or 3 years ago maybe. It's called like the Lost City of Z or something like that.
Oh, it wasn't. It was like him and Ryan Gosling or something like that, or was it not Ryan Gosling? It
It,
was. I know what you're talking about though.
yeah, it was somebody. It might have been Ryan
Couple adventure
Gosling.
type of thing.
Yeah, but like
It
that's the
seems-
only. It
it
was
wasn't bad though.
yeah, it wasn't bad, but it was like just thinking that's the only other main thing I've really seen him in outside of Spider-Man, and it
Yeah,
was like it was okay. Like it wasn't really great, but that also might have just been the film itself.
Yeah, he's
So
in
we'll
something
see.
coming out with. I think the Russo brothers produced it. It's like he's like a bank robber or something like that.
Oh yeah,
He
yeah, yeah.
got like a buzz cut for it. Apparently, like I saw people talking about it who like worked on the set, and they were saying like he's got like an Oscar worthy level performance.
Hmm.
Which I was like, really? I don't know. I
I
mean,
mean, I would love to see him get one. He's a little
I,
young, but
he is. I mean, I listen. I want to see Tom Holland win. He's good. Like,
yeah,
but I don't know. I mean, all I can say about Uncharted is I just hope it comes out well. You know, I don't want them to rush it, even though it's in development hell. Like, you know,
yeah,
so I
definitely.
don't think they should like risk anyone getting hurt, and they shouldn't risk anyone getting sick, for the sake of getting the hype out.
Hmm. Yeah, I agree. It's a tough one. I think that depending on the scale of the film, that they could probably shoot it by 2021 and have it out.
Yeah.
Um, I think that might be a little optimistic, which we're gonna get into later. Just
Mhm.
about filming and COVID, really. But I guess we'll see what happens. I mean, personally, I would love to see this be like super ambitious, over the top. Because that's really how I love my Uncharted. Like those
Yeah.
big set pieces are just crazy.
Yeah, I'm a little nervous it could turn out to be like the Tomb Raider movie that came out like a year or
Mm,
two ago, where it was like, that was a sort of like there was like a decent scale to that movie,
mm,
but it was like a little bit cheesy at the same time too. You know what I mean? It's like
yeah,
they had this big scale, but they didn't have the budget for it.
yeah.
So
Also,
I'm
video game movies tend to try to do like, oh, like it's a video game, it's a movie, and like they do like some weird first person thing or like an over the shoulder camera or like just
yeah,
don't. Just give me a movie.
yeah,
So we'll see what happens. But
yeah,
speaking of Russo brothers, I know you said them like 10 minutes ago.
yeah.
Let's talk about Netflix. So,
Big,
segue.
big
Genius segue.
Netflix news this week.
Yeah, a lot of Netflix news. But to start, they revealed their top 10 biggest debuts for original movies since their streaming service came out. So, the way that they are recording it is the number of views within the first 4 weeks, which is like
Yeah,
usually what you would consider like a film run, I guess. And then also, just for context, their definition of a view is that you've watched it for at least 2 minutes because
yeah.
apparently
I
that's
read that.
long enough.
That was the first time I've heard that, and
Mm.
I was very surprised. I was like, really? That's like not that long at all.
Yeah,
But I
it's actually a new metric that they started using just like probably I think starting this year. I want to say it's just for stakeholders, like shareholders, so that during their shareholder meetings they can just be like, "Oh, it got this many views," but it's really just someone almost accidentally leaving it on.
right.
But also, when you think about it, at a movie theater, they only check your ticket. So you could, I mean, most people, once they're invested in something that's more expensive, like a movie, they stay.
Right.
But you could just buy tickets and walk away, and it would still count as you seeing the whole thing. So, like, there's some give and take, I guess. But
That's fair. Yeah.
yeah. So, anyway, just going down the list really quick, I just wanted to talk about some of these because it's an interesting list.
It is an
So,
interesting list, to
yeah.
be honest.
So number one, Extraction came out, I think, last month in June,
Yeah. Or the month
starring
before.
starring Chris Hemsworth. It was written by Joe Russo, and I forget who it was directed by. It says it right down here. If I can get the full, I cannot get the full thing. That is sad.
Um,
I do not know that.
hold up.
But
Uh, I'm looking. But
okay,
go ahead. Continue.
I was gonna say so. 99 million people watched it in the first month. That's awesome. I do think that it's inflated because of like COVID. But
Yep.
still very impressive. I loved the movie. If you actually did you see it, Billy?
I did watch it. It was good.
Okay, it was awesome. Like Chris Hemsworth puts on a great performance. I think Joe Russo's writing is pretty good. It sets up for a cool sequel, and it
Yeah.
just
It was honestly a really fun like military action movie. And
yeah,
yeah, I see further down on this list, Triple Frontiers down there. That was
mm,
also a military type of movie, more like a mercenary type movie, I guess.
yeah. Well, this
But
one's
also,
Mercenary too.
yeah, but I think this one was way better,
Oh
and
yeah,
and I like Triple Frontier too. I thought that was fun and a good time too. But this was, I don't know, I just liked it more, and I like seeing Chris Hemsworth getting more roles, a little bit
Yeah.
more outside the door. And this one also, he was a lot more like serious,
Hmm.
because they put him in a lot of comedy roles sometimes. Sometimes they box him into comedy stuff too, and like he's good at it. He's great at comedy
Oh, he's
actually,
so
but
funny.
I think that he carried this really well.
Yeah, I think the difference between this and Triple Frontier is that honestly, there's like it's a smaller story and it has a bit more personal weight to it. I think for people,
Yeah,
whereas
definitely.
Triple Frontier is about stealing money from a drug cartel and then just trying to get that money. I guess like that's really it. Like
Yeah,
this
and Ben
movie is
Affleck
about
screws everyone.
personable. What were you gonna say, Billy? I'm sorry.
Oh, and Ben Affleck screws everyone over in Triple Frontier basically,
Yeah, I
and like
forgot about that.
you get all confused, like why did we all do this? Like,
Yeah. Also, I think Chris Hemsworth puts on a better performance than anyone in Triple Frontier.
yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah.
It's fair.
So anyway, going down the list, Bird Box, Quiet Place ripoff. I mean, I've heard it's good. I haven't seen it.
I've seen parts of it. I haven't seen the whole thing.
Yeah, honestly, I saw a Quiet Place, and then people were like, "It's like a Quiet Place, but for blind people." And I was like, "Well, like I already saw a Quiet Place." All right, Spencer Confidential at number 3. I vaguely remember hearing about this.
It was it's the Mark Wahlberg prison movie.
Oh, that's why I didn't watch it.
Post Malone's in it.
Yeah, yeah,
That's like the biggest thing in the trailer. When, Post Malone's in this movie. But
yeah.
yeah, I didn't
I
watch.
I hate to say I don't watch like Mark Wahlberg things because I do think he's a good actor, but I really don't. Like he's not a selling point for me. So I definitely now I remember why I skipped over it because it was just like, do you want to watch Marky Mark's film? And I was like, no. It's kind of like yeah, I don't know. Six Underground, Ryan Reynolds. Okay.
uh, we're didn't didn't we start watching this and then we turned it off after the first 5 or 10 minutes?
Yes,
Was
we
that
did.
you? I was disappointed because the trailer looked sick. I was like,
Yeah.
dude, this looks so fun, so cool. And with it, like there was like the opening like chase scene. Whatever the jokes were, it was like, nah, we're not watching this.
Yeah, it was
Like,
terrible. Dave Franco was just saying things that were just it was just so bad.
yeah, I don't know what it. Yeah, it was funny, but
Yeah.
not good.
I think it's one of those things where like Ryan Reynolds has like transitioned into such a funny actor just off of like Deadpool.
Sure.
And Deadpool is funny, don't get me wrong, but like it's like what you're saying with Chris Hemsworth. Like he sometimes gets boxed into funny things. It's like Ryan, just stop making jokes. Like
Yeah.
let's
Not to
just
mention,
have the action
Six
movie.
Underground is like super Michael Bay comedy, and like Michael Bay's not funny. Like,
Yeah. It's like Transformers humor. Oh god.
yeah, but Transformers humor is like low key racist sometimes.
Man.
But that's another conversation.
Yeah. All right. So number 5, Murder Mystery. I've never fucking heard of this ever.
I believe it's Adam Sandler. It's an Adam Sandler movie.
Oh no, that I have
Yeah.
heard of it. It's him and Jennifer Aniston.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have never been advertised this film on Netflix, and I've never seen it.
I've seen the poster
Uh,
for it, but I didn't watch it because every
yeah,
time Adam Sandler drops something on Netflix, oh the only thing I hear is just it's not good. It's not good. And I
yeah.
know he kind of gets that stigma all the time, but
You know,
I don't know.
this one might be okay. I feel like my girlfriend said it was good, maybe,
Oh yeah,
or maybe I said it was good because it's a mystery movie and she likes mysteries. I can't remember.
sure.
My brother actually might have watched it too. He's quarantining right now because he was on vacation recently, and he said
Yeah.
he watched all of the Adam Sandler films
Oh okay.
on Netflix. So maybe I will ask him about that.
Did he like him?
Yeah, he kind of.
Yeah.
He watched a movie. Oh, I can't remember what it was called. It was about like a movie agent. It kind of sounded like a
Right.
bad Jerry Maguire. It was like even the same thing where it was like a name of a person was the name of the movie, like Sandy
Gotcha.
something. But no, they're not. For the most part, they're not good.
Yeah. I mean,
But
he's hit or miss. It's always hit or miss with him. But when he
yeah,
hits,
that's true.
it's good stuff.
Yeah. All right, next, The Irishman. Great film. A little long,
Pretty long.
if we're being honest. Yeah.
It's good though. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I think
Uh,
long term it's pretty good. I watched it in 4 installments that were like, if you Google it, you can find like lists of how to like split it into like episodes.
Yeah.
That
How
made
did
it
you
more
feel about
bearable.
that? Watching it like that? Did it feel like a mini series or something? Watching it like that?
Kinda. I mean, it felt, you're pausing it in places where, like, you could definitely take a break, but I still think it feels like a cohesive movie overall. There's not like acts where it just ends. You know what I mean? And you feel like you could like stop watching and have gotten something. It was very fun though. I just think it was a little long. Like Scorsese, I know, like brilliant and like it was good. It's
Yeah.
just he's really got to start cutting down.
Yeah. I mean, Scorsese it always has long run times, and I watched
Yeah.
Irishman front to back, um, and it was fine. I mean, like I don't really have a problem watching longer movies, but yeah, sometimes Scorsese's just a little too long sometimes.
Yeah.
But I think it's definitely worth a watch,
Yeah, it's
and
good.
I'm not surprised at all it's on this list because
Yeah, definitely a huge blowout thing for Netflix, especially when it was up for all the awards and everything.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right, next Triple Frontier. We talked about it.
Yep.
Pretty good. It was, could have been better, I guess. Just
Yeah,
whatever. The Wrong Missy. I have also never heard of this.
yeah. These last three I have not heard of and not seen.
Okay, so the Wrong Missy I've never heard of. The Platform is a like a film that they picked up from like the film circuit, I believe, and
Okay.
it's like a horror movie about. It's kind of like a horror movie. It's like a thriller about they're all in a prison, and it's like 300 something levels, and there's two people in a cell, and they're all stacked directly on top of each other, and food comes down from the top every other day or every day,
Yeah.
and there's enough food for everyone theoretically, but the people at the top always just like eat as much as they can, and then by
Right.
the time it gets to the lower floors there's no food left, and it's just about people like just doing really desperate and crazy things just to eat. Like people are eating other people and like killing themselves and
Wow.
killing. It's one of those movies where like it's trying to say something, and I get it. Like it's saying something profound about capitalism and sharing, I guess. But
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
and I don't mean that in like a sarcastic way. Like it says these things, but it just says it in such like a gross way.
Yeah. Sure.
And like I get it. Like starving is gross, but like it's just one of those movies where it made it's like I couldn't even watch it. I had to watch like a summary of it because
Oh,
it's
okay.
just so gross and so
Yeah.
fucked up. Like I can't. It's not my type of movie.
No, I mean that's fair.
But yeah,
Not everything is for everyone, you know.
yeah. It
It's all right.
is. I heard it was good, but I also again I heard it was very fucked up.
Yeah.
And then watching the synopsis, I was like, "Yep, that's fucked up." Um. All right. So anyway, so that is that. But actually, this list has already changed since it came out earlier in the week because
Yeah.
going to our next topic, the Old Guard is already on track to hit 72 million households, which puts it already in the top 10 most popular pictures on Netflix.
Right. And this is I again, I'm not surprised. Um
No.
we watched The Old Guard last week.
Mm-hmm.
Uh and we both enjoyed it. It was pretty good.
So
Like
good.
it was a nice like I mean, don't get me wrong, like it's not perfect. It wasn't like, you know, it wasn't groundbreaking or anything, but it was a fun watch. Um really entertaining,
Mm-hmm.
and it was a fresh take. It was like a fresh take on this like superhero genre kind of, but like mixed with some fantasy elements. It was super dope.
Yeah, I think it's in the same park as like Extraction is, where it's not groundbreaking, it's not like award winning, but it's fun. It
Yeah,
is like their blockbuster movie for the summer, and I just think
yeah,
it's such a great watch, and Charlize Theron does a great job.
yeah.
And
And Netflix is just positioned so well right now. Like
oh, so good.
it's like there's no competition right now. Like a little like Amazon's there, Disney
Hmm.
Plus is there, but they're not rolling out content like Netflix is right now.
Not at all.
Like and like that's not to say like everything Netflix puts out is a hit. Everything they put out is crazy good, but like they're hitting consistent marks right now, and like no one else in town is really kind of doing that, you know?
Yeah. So for context, this actually puts Old Guard just above The Irishman at number 6.
Okay.
But like they got everyone right where they want them, in front of their TVs at home.
Yep.
They got nothing else to do. And compared to these other streaming services, like the most recent thing I saw from Amazon Prime is that they are integrating watch parties directly, which is cool. Like I really appreciate that
Yeah.
because like Netflix, you have to use like a third party thing, Netflix Party, and like Disney
Yeah.
Plus doesn't have one. Like I think that should just be integrated. Like it's an awesome feature.
Yeah. That
But
it is.
they
It's fun.
got no new movies, no new content that I've really heard of. Hulu, I honestly I'm not even sure I've ever heard of a movie come out of Hulu. Maybe like nah, I can't
Like
think
one
of
or,
anything. Nah.
but I don't know.
Yeah. I don't. And then like what else is out
I'm
there?
excited to see Netflix do good things, and I'm really glad that they're putting it like they're investing in things that other studios aren't. You know
That's
what I
true.
mean? I
Yeah.
feel like nobody. I feel like the Old Guard wouldn't come out in theaters. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like seeing it on Netflix, it feels like it's in the right spot, but it also feels like when you watch it,
Hmm.
it feels like Netflix is stepping their game up. You know,
Yeah, it does.
like I totally believe this would like this feels like a Netflix movie, but if it wasn't a theater, like I wouldn't be surprised. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Does that
I
make
mean, I think Charlize Theron can carry pretty much anything.
Yeah, I mean, she's great.
Yeah, I think honestly, especially between this, like Atomic Blonde comes out, does pretty well. Everyone enjoys it, and then I'm pretty sure it's confirmed now that Atomic Blonde 2 is in development at Netflix. So
At Netflix?
I think so.
Shit.
Yeah, and I think just because of that, like they have Charlize Theron kind of roped in. They got her, like when you start to like do business, like obviously it's not contractual, but
Yeah.
you start making more content and they're like, "Hey, while we're talking about this, like do you want to just star in this film?" And she's like, "Hell yeah."
Yeah.
And it just
I
spirals
love
out.
Charlize Theron. And Atomic Blonde is probably my favorite movie she's in.
Yeah,
Um,
that's pretty good.
but also, I mean, I like Mad Max Fury Road too. But
That's
Atomic
probably the best movie she said.
probably, I mean, like, yeah, probably like critic wise and
Yeah.
everything. But yeah, I mean, I hope this gets a sequel too. It's set up perfectly for a sequel.
Yeah, I can't imagine, especially after these numbers. I genuinely cannot see a world where the sequel does not come out like next year or 2022.
Yeah.
Just so good, and like it really does. Like this movie makes me ask so many questions because the world is just so like interesting, and like there's some interesting characters that you just want to know about,
Yeah.
and so
That's
we'll
sick.
see what happens.
Yeah. If basically watch the Old Guard. It's
Yeah,
good.
that's basically it.
It's a good time, and it's a good Friday night watch. You know, with the fam or whatever.
Yeah, I keep trying to tell my dad and my brother to watch it, but the last movie I recommended to them was Uncut Gems, and it gave them so much like anxiety that they're like, "Oh, that was terrible. You make such bad suggestions." I'm like, "No, this movie's gonna be better, or at least
Yeah.
better for you."
Yeah.
But
Uncut Gems is definitely more out there
yeah,
for sure.
it also does not make you feel good. But
Yeah.
let's keep
I
going.
mean, debatable, but yes,
Yeah,
I know what you mean.
yeah. All
Um,
right. So moving
but
on to our next topic, just to keep
yes.
things rolling. So Netflix again is another Netflix thing. Off of them doing so well with all those other films, they have committed their largest budget ever to a movie called The Gray Man, starring Ryan Gosling and Chris Evans.
Oh yeah.
And it is going to be directed by the Russo brothers, and it is written by Joe Russo, with also writing from, I will find their names down here somewhere, but it is the people who wrote um, Captain America 2, The
Yes.
Winter Soldier. Where are they? Oh my gosh. So anyway, this is just super exciting. Like it
I
just
was gonna
sounds
say, do you see
amazing.
the stars aligning here? Do you see what's happening? Like
It's genius.
this movie, and like I'm not like I don't want to gas it up too much, but straight up, like they're basically rolling out like a gold carpet for this. This is it. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? This is like also like I don't remember if you said it, but This is the biggest budget Netflix has committed to anything.
Yeah.
Like that's 200 million is the budget for this movie.
Yeah.
That's what the studios are afraid of. This is the reason they've been fighting Netflix and streaming services the past decade, because they were afraid that Netflix or someone's going to put down money like this. And now with Netflix, with the traction they've been getting over the past few months, they've got like 10 million new subscribers. Everything they're putting out is doing well numbers wise. They just slapped it on the table with this one. Like, let's go, Russo
Yeah.
brothers. No question. And this is going to be like, I know they're saying it's going to be like a James Bond level thing.
Hmm.
I low key thought in my head, I was like, what about Man from Uncle? Like this is kind of be maybe like Man from Uncle
Like a better
style.
Man from Uncle.
Yeah, but they're saying this is going to be like a universe type thing. Like
Yeah.
Ryan Gosling is going to run like a universe out of this.
Yeah, so just talking about it a little bit. So, first of all, the two writers that I was thinking about were Christopher Marcus and Stephen McFeely. They have done like a ton of work in the MCU, but just talk about star power. First of all, Extraction, that we were talking about last, their number one film viewing wise ever, was written by Joe Russo. He's writing this.
Crazy.
So we're talking debatably the biggest directors in Hollywood, like money wise, coming off of Avengers, Endgame, Avengers, Infinity War, and like their other MCU stuff like the Captain America Civil War and 2. Amazing. Chris Evans, I mean, he was in Knives Out, which was great. But like, his first like starring role, I would say, since then.
Yeah.
So like he's on top of his game. Ryan Gosling, I forget what he's been in since Blade Runner, but I love him in Blade Runner.
I love him in everything.
Yeah, and I'm
He's
like,
great.
some people have said that he can't like headline his own movie. I think he totally fucking can.
Absolutely
He's so
fucking can.
good. And just
I
like
want
the
to
two
see him
of
in more action shit. Ever since we saw him in Blade Runner,
Oh,
I just want him in more action. I want to see him fuck people up. Like,
yeah, I think if they can both be like, especially just if they're big and just like, just like the way Chris Evans is choreographed in the MCU, and just
yeah,
if it's fighting's good, it's good. It's gonna be good.
this whole deal, this movie is hitting all cylinders, and it didn't even start.
It checks
Like,
all my boxes.
It's straight up, and not to mention, like, the Russo brothers they're in their pocket right now. Like, espionage, spy thriller, dude. Winter Soldier, like, we both agree, Winter Soldier is the best movie in the MCU.
Yeah, awesome movie.
That's pretty close to facts right there.
No question.
So this is it. Like, this is gonna be crazy.
Yeah, I agree, and especially like, I mean, obviously they've been planning this for a while, but especially like theoretically, James Bond already would have came out, which that's so sad because I wanted to see that so bad.
Yeah, I'm really hyped for the James Bond movie.
Yeah, that was great. That was honestly the thing that was helping me through finals, and then it didn't come out, and I was like, awesome.
Big sad.
But like, so imagine that, like, James Bond ends. There's no more, Daniel Craig is done. They're looking for a new Bond. It's probably going to be like 2 or 3 years before they find someone, get everything together again. Like, they're trying to take the spot.
Oh, they definitely are.
And they're going to do it. They're going to do it.
Honestly, I'd be okay if they did. If it's that good, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I would love to. Love to see it.
Good chance. There's a good chance. So,
yeah.
More updates on this to come.
Yeah.
Very excited for it.
All right, so let's jump to, this is actually breaking this morning, Monday, 7:20. So this is unfortunate. So Tenet has now been undated, and Warner Brothers announces that the new date, they're going to come out with it soon, but the theatrical global rollout won't be traditional, which is not really what we want to hear.
No,
so
not at all.
Yeah, so my big scare with this is that reading the article, and I don't want to go too much into it, but obviously they tried to show it in July. July is now kind of coming to an end. Everything is still terrible. It's getting worse in America.
Yep.
So I don't think we're going to be able to see anything specific.
It was supposed to drop this upcoming Friday, on the 24th. So, yeah, I mean, it really sucks because this movie looks great. Nolan, it's hard for Nolan to miss.
Mhm.
For me personally, I know you're also a fan, but this looks great, and I know Nolan's trying very hard behind the scenes. I don't know if you've seen. He wants to like Nolan wants to like bring back theaters from COVID-19. Like he wants Tenet to be the first thing out. He wants to be like the rollout of like the return to theaters, and I get that. That's great, but also it's like I understand pushing it back and undating it because you gotta let this stuff play out. You know?
Yeah, 100%. I'm just so I know that he wanted to do it. He wanted to bring theaters back because theaters are honestly a great place to be.
Yeah.
The only thing that disheartens me, I guess, and it's not, the movie's still going to be great. It's just the way that they're talking about a global release is that they're going to just start rolling it out in countries where it is better.
Right.
And that, I mean, great. Like, do it. Maybe incentivize the US to get their shit together. But,
Yeah.
like, I just want to see it. And I know that if it starts, like, if it comes out first in China and then it comes out in the EU and, like, we're waiting months to see it, one, it's going to leak
Spoiled.
online.
Yeah.
Two, it's going to get spoiled. Three, I feel like just because Christopher Nolan is so strongly like invested in like actual movie theaters, I think he will not release it in America until it is in theaters first.
Yeah.
And it's like, how long are we going to wait to see this awesome film?
I agree. I would be very, very surprised if he tossed it to a streaming service. It would be very uncharacteristic for him. And like, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. Like he should or shouldn't,
Mm-hmm.
but it's like we just want this movie. Like we want it.
Yeah.
But also, I understand. It's like a rock and a hard place type of situation, you know.
Yeah, definitely. All right.
But I don't
So,
know. Hopefully
anyway,
this comes together soon, and hopefully the U.S. gets their shit together.
yeah. So that's disappointing. But we have a lighter note to end the news on for this week,
Oh, this is
which
fun.
is Giancarlo Esposito wants to join the MCU. So I
Great
thought,
actor.
yeah, great actor. He's in Breaking Bad. Is I
Better
think one
Call
of his
Saul.
bigger standout things. Better Call Saul.
Yep,
Recently, it was announced that he is going to be the bad guy in Far Cry 6. Here's a picture of him now, rendered in Far Cry 6.
that's right.
Looks
It
like a
looks like a real
menace.
thing.
Yeah, he looks great.
He does. You haven't seen Breaking Bad or Better Call Saul, have you?
I have not.
He is fucking great. Like
Yeah.
I'm like so people are rumoring, or I don't know if they're rumoring, but they're fan casting him basically as villain roles for the MCU.
Mm-hmm.
You have, Norman Osborn, Doctor Doom, Magneto,
Mm-hmm.
and like I could tell you from seeing his performances as a villain in the Breaking Bad stuff, he's gonna kill no matter what he gets. If it's either any one of those three, he's gonna kill it. It's gonna be crazy.
Yeah, I wrote down a couple of things that I would love to see him do.
Yeah.
Magneto is one of them. In
Yep.
some weird twist, if he became a hero, I would like to see him be Reed Richards. I think that'd be interesting.
That'd be crazy. He'd
I
be
think
old
he'll
as
be a
hell for
villain. Yeah. Galactus, I thought he could be if they do Galactus.
Oh,
Uh, Kang the Conqueror is another one of those like world-ending villains that he could be.
yep.
Um, I I was like trying to think of something outside the box. So like for the one thing that I thought would be really interesting would be the Blade movie that's coming up. I
Oh,
thought it would be cool
okay.
if he was Dracula and we just jumped straight to Dracula.
Oh, that'd be fucking sick.
Yeah, because like I'm just like because Green Goblin I think is kind of out because
Yeah,
even though I
that's
think that Norman Osborn would be great, I think that the tie between Sony and Marvel is like too precarious.
yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so then
They're
that
very
also
much
rules
under
out.
the fire with that one.
Go for it.
It's just very much like on the ropes, I guess, with that one because the Sony deal is so like it's like up in the air after every movie that comes out. I feel like
Yeah,
everyone's always like, they're gonna get another one. They're gonna get another one, and then they do. And then last time it was really close to not happening again. And I would love to see him as Norman Osborn. I think he'd be great. Um, but knowing how precarious that is, I, I kind of really like the idea of him as Doctor Doom. I'm not gonna
yeah.
lie.
I agree. I
Like
think
that
Doctor
or
Doom's the best
Magneto.
thing.
I think he'd be a very dark Magneto, and I kind of like that too. Like,
Yeah, I
he's just
think the only thing with Magneto, I mean, I guess all of these are like recurring villain roles. Um, but yeah, I would. Doctor Doom seems like a great thing to build up to. Magneto, I feel like I vaguely remember a rumor saying that they were trying to cast like they're trying to cast younger or like a very different skew of what Magneto and Professor X usually are.
yeah,
But I can't remember what the exact skew was. So I don't
yeah.
want to comment too
In
much
the
on that.
article. I read in the article they were looking for person of color for Magneto. That was the rumor.
Mm.
So he that's
Yeah, he
what people
fits that.
people are saying he technically fits the box on
Yeah.
that. But I don't know. They went younger with Professor X and Magneto with
First class.
James McAvoy.
Mm.
Yeah, in First Class, and that was great. I mean, I think Michael Fassbender is the best Magneto, in my opinion.
Yeah, which is tough because
It's
Ian
tough because
McKellen's a great actor.
He's great, and he's great in the role. But Michael Fassbender in First Class is different. Like,
Yeah, First Class hits different as a film. It's good.
yeah,
It's very good.
it's very good.
All
But
right.
Esposito would be a great follow-up,
Yeah.
in
And
my
then the last thing that I have for Esposito, and this is just kind of talking like more to talk about the MCU in general. I think it'd be cool if he was an original villain. And I know that sounds
okay.
kind of dumb, but like I feel like the MCU like they keep innovating, right? And they've been innovating a lot and like doing more like interesting and like large scale things. I think
Yeah,
it's time that they can like instead of just taking from the source material, they can just make some source material.
yeah. I mean,
It'd be crazy.
I'd I'd be interested, but I also know the fan base definitely wants to see more. They want more of that
I know they
comic
want
shit,
more of this stuff.
which is fine. But I think that would be a good idea too to be an original villain.
Yeah.
I mean, the Avengers game coming out has MODOK as the main villain.
Yeah, that's
I
weird.
think. Yeah, I don't like it
Yeah, I mean maybe
personally.
I'll like come to like Modoc, but like big head, not about
Can
it.
you imagine Esposito as MODOK? Oh,
I almost wrote it down, but then I was like, nah, that's
don't.
I feel like whoever Modoc is just gonna be terrible.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Yeah.
Hopefully, it's not it.
Like it just doesn't transfer. Doesn't work.
No, it's too out there for me.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
So
We'll see what happens.
yeah. All right. So anyway, that is it for the news today. So what we're gonna jump to next is our discussion for the week. And normally, like we're gonna probably, there's gonna be like actual more like debate or discussion topics or a movie review. But this week, since it is the first episode, we wanted to kind of more talk about us as people. So a way that we thought about doing that was just talking about what we're watching now and what we've seen recently.
Yeah,
And I guess Billy, why don't you take it off?
sure. Well, like we were talking about earlier, we watched The Old Guard last week.
Mm.
That was pretty fun. I like that a lot. I just started watching today, which I was very happy to see. Um, The Last Dance is on Netflix. You know what that is?
Yeah,
You
the
heard about?
Michael Jordan documentary.
Yeah, it's the Michael Jordan docu series, and I was very surprised because it premiered on ESPN, I
Mm-hmm.
think, and they said it was going to come to Netflix, but it was going to be international Netflix, so the U.S. wasn't going to get it, but
Mm-hmm.
every other country was going to get it. So I was kind of annoyed because I was like, oh damn, I didn't get to see it on ESPN. I'm not going to see it on Netflix now. It sucks.
Mm-hmm.
But I opened up Netflix today, and it's there.
There it is. Yeah.
So I watched 2 episodes this morning. It's great.
Yeah,
Having a
I'm
good time with it.
surprised because I would have assumed because Disney obviously owns ESPN, I would assume Disney Plus would have picked it up.
You would think.
But yeah, my grandma watched it. She's like a big basketball sports fan. She watched it when it was coming out on ESPN, and she said it was fantastic.
It's so good, honestly. It's been pretty fun.
Yeah.
It's a little all over the place as far as like the timeline goes, but it flows really well.
Mm-hmm.
It feels good.
Well, that's good.
So, and also in the past year, I guess, speaking of docu-series, I've been watching a lot of the Netflix docu-series, and they've been really good.
Yeah, I was.
So,
I wrote down that I watched History 101, which is like, it's a docu series about just like random things and like just world history,
yeah,
and it's quick and it's kind of like it's just an easy watch. Like it's just informative. It kind of feels like like a History Channel How It's Made documentary,
Yeah.
and like those are just they're just nice to watch. Like, just makes you feel good when you watch it.
Yeah.
Except for the
Yeah.
ones that are
Definitely.
about like climate change and nuclear war and shit.
Yeah. You don't want to get spooked too much.
Yeah. So those are good.
Yeah.
You watching anything else?
Uh, honestly, as of the past couple weeks, I haven't seen too much.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but about a month ago, I did watch. You're gonna hate me for bringing this up. I watched Waco on Netflix. I brought
Yeah.
this up like a million times when I was watching it, and honestly, it was just okay. Like it's nothing special about it. It
You
was all
seemed
right.
really hype about it when you were watching it.
The first episode was like it drew me in, and
Mm-hmm.
I think it was like 4 or 5 episodes. It's like a TV show.
Yeah,
It's like a
yeah.
mini series. Um, and the first episode was interesting, and it's not bad. I recommend it, to be
Mm-hmm.
honest. But it's not like nothing groundbreaking, nothing over the top. It's pretty fucking weird. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that much about like the actual like real life scenario
Mm-hmm.
until I watched the show, and I'm sure the show is not 100% accurate, but it was decent watch, decent.
That's good.
So I watched that. It was all right, but um, let me. What have you been watching, John? I'm gonna pull up my list.
Yeah. So the movies I watched Old Guard with you, which was good. I
Yep.
watched The Disaster Artist, which I thought was really, really good. That is the Tommy
Oh, that's
Wiseau, The Room
yeah,
thing. That was
right.
great. I watched Zodiac, which is about like the Zodiac killer murders,
Yeah.
and that was also really interesting. That was Jake Gyllenhaal, Robert Downey Jr., and oh my god, I'm gonna botch his name and I don't know why. Mark Ruffalo, and that was really
Okay.
good. And that's just about solving those murders and all that. And that was it is what it is. It's kind of like a biopic.
Yeah.
Um, it was okay. It was a little long, but great performances all around, and good to see them all in the MCU. Good to see
Yeah.
them all get
Yeah.
jobs later. And then TV show wise, I am finishing Space Force today, the Steve Carell like comedy with John Malkovich.
Have you been enjoying that?
Yeah. So
Okay.
like it's not funny all the time. Like if you think of like something like, like a normal sitcom where like say like Friends or like The Office or like Modern Family, like the amount of jokes in those per minute is probably close to like 8 or 10, right?
Yeah. Sure.
Like they're just like everything is funny. Like this show, it feels like there's only like one joke a minute, and like I can't tell if I'm just missing them or if like they're just not funny
Yeah.
or if they're just not happening. That's not to say it's bad. Like I do like it.
Okay.
It's good to see Steve Carell back and John Ralphio from Parks and Rec. I forget the actor's actual name. And John Malkovich is always just like a great actor.
He's funny.
So
I
yeah,
like him.
I would say it's worth watching just a little bit because it's only 30-minute episodes. So it's like 4 hours to watch the whole thing.
Yeah.
Um,
I've heard mixed things about it, so I didn't get into it yet. But
yeah, they're honestly the funny parts are really funny, but like the normal most of it is kind of like, okay.
yeah.
But I have nothing
All
else
right.
to do, so I've been watching it. And then I just finished the show Kingdom, which is a South Korean period piece slash zombie TV show. And it's
Yeah. I just
about,
added that to my list because you were telling me about that. It sounds really cool.
yeah, it's great. It's about zombies in feudal Korea.
Yeah.
And like it's just after the Japanese Korean War, which I don't really know like a ton about the history there, but I
Yeah.
would
Sure.
assume it's like 1500s or 1400s. And it's just like they do some interesting things with the zombies that like I won't get into here just because it's kind of spoilers, but like it's
Yeah.
not your average zombie apocalypse. Like it's much more different, and there's much more of like even though all this zombie stuff is happening, there's still tons of room for like political, just like crown prince, royal family stuff going on.
Right.
Why the plague's happening? Kind of like how when Resident Evil is good, it like really talks about like the effects of the plague and like who's spreading it and who makes it and what's going on.
Right.
And so that's just been really, really interesting. So now that that's done, I do recommend that. It's only 2 seasons. There's 6 episodes each. It's like 40 minutes an episode, so that's pretty easy to watch. And then Space Force is also done. I'm going to probably be starting West Wing next. which
Yeah.
is like the political. I don't know, like I don't want to call it a thriller. I really don't know what it is, but like people say it's good. It's got 7 seasons, which means it's probably good.
Yeah.
That's the golden number of seasons.
I just looked at my list to jog my memory a little bit of what I watched recently.
Mm-hmm.
But I watched the Jeffrey Epstein doc
Oh
series
yeah,
on
yeah,
Netflix. That was great. Super fucked up. It was very interesting.
yeah. Yeah, informative.
Yeah, a lot of just a crazy fucking story. What the fuck? Like,
Yeah, it's not even over yet. Don't you worry.
yeah.
It's
Um,
fucked up.
and I also want to bring up we recently a few weeks back we watched Good Time from A24
Yeah, that was also really good.
with Robert Pattinson. That was great. And
It's
like
a
those are the same people that made Uncut Gems.
mm-hmm.
And I thought Good Time was better than Uncut Gems.
Yeah. It has
So
less star power in a weird way because like I think that Robin Pattinson isn't as like big as Adam Sandler. But the movie has more of like a personal, like relatable, empathic nature to it that Uncut Gems just doesn't really have.
yeah,
And I think it makes it a more enjoyable watch.
yeah. And speaking of Pattinson, I also recently watched The Lighthouse on
Mm.
Amazon.
Yeah, I hear that's fucking
Dude,
crazy.
it's insane. I was excited to see it in the theaters,
Mm-hmm.
and I never got a chance to go see it. But goddamn, dude, it was first of all visually it's beautiful, but like story wise, it's insane. It is insane. Like I highly recommend. I think you'd like it.
Yeah, it's on Amazon Prime.
Yes,
All right, then yeah, I'll probably check it out later.
but that's basically what I got going on.
Yeah, same. It's
As far
tough.
as my next watch, I don't. Hmm.
Just looking at your Netflix list.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Like,
Yeah, it's a struggle, especially when you have to like you watch all your movies and then you're just left with the TV shows and you're like, okay, am I gonna commit 700 hours to watching this show?
yeah, I think honestly, I think I'm gonna watch The Town next with Ben Affleck.
Yeah, I heard that was good.
Like bank robber movie. I
Yeah,
want to
yeah,
watch that. So I think that's what I got next.
yeah. That should be good. That reminds me, I watched Road to Perdition the other maybe like 2 weeks ago. That's like Daniel Craig and Tom Hanks, and
Oh, okay.
yeah, that was really good. It's about like they're like 1940s or 1950s like bank robbers,
Yeah,
and then well they're mobsters, and then stuff goes wrong and blah blah blah. Good film though, very good film.
nice.
Yeah. So with all that, I think we are probably coming to the end of our first episode. Let me check where we are time wise. Yeah, we're
We're
coming in at
probably
like 57 minutes.
oh great. All right, I like that.
Yeah, so we're coming in just under an hour, which is where we want to stay. Probably like around an hour.
Yeah.
So yeah, so next week is Comic-Con is running I think Thursday to Sunday, so we should have all the Comic-Con news that's important. If there
Right.
is any. Billy told me that most of the major people pulled out, which is kind of sad.
Yeah, Marvel and DC's doing their own thing which they announced like a month ago.
Yeah, the
And I think
fandom.
and I think Marvel pulled out last week or the week before.
Mm,
So it could be a little dry, but
yeah.
I'm sure there will be something coming out of there. They
Yeah,
gotta
I
have
know
something.
Star Trek has a panel, and as a Star Trek super nerd, I will definitely be reporting on whatever the fuck they put out.
Sure. Yeah.
Just because season 3 of Discovery should be coming out, they teased a new Admiral or Captain Pike show.
Yeah. Dude, I want to hear about the season 2 of Picard.
Also true. Picard is really
Picard
good.
was great.
Yeah,
That was good.
yeah. So we'll see what happens, and then we will also we haven't finalized the discussion topic for next week, but it definitely will be more of like a deep, focused like discussion on a specific topic.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
So,
I agree.
Unless you have anything else to say, Bill, I think we're just about done.
I think we are just about done.
All right. So thank you for watching and listening, everybody. Be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the content. Ring that bell. This is honestly our first podcast on this, in Cinema Scrutiny. And if you could just if you liked it or if you have any criticism, leave a comment, email us, cinemascrutinypodcast@gmail.com. Or, just talk to us directly if you know us. And if you like it, share it with your friends. They're captivated at home. They can't leave.
Let
I'm
them
sure they want to
know.
listen.
Let them know what's going on. Let them know what's good.
All right. Thanks, guys. Everyone have a good week, and we'll be back next week. Have a good one.
Yep. Stay safe. Thank you.